All right, my favorite science story this week is about what happens when you turn stuff in late. Because I think a lot of us feel like we live in a world where everyone gets a gold star no matter what, and there are no consequences for being late. This study out of the University of Toronto shows that there are consequences. Specifically, people think the work is of lower quality, and they think the person handing it in is less competent and has less integrity than somebody that hands stuff in on time. I don't know, I just kind of like that. And interestingly, it doesn't matter if it's an hour late or a week late, it's the same effect. It just seems worse. The way the researchers found this is they got about 7,000 people to evaluate all kinds of different stuff: business proposals, advertising flyers, uh, art, photography, some writing like news articles. And in every case, when they were told this was handed, so for the experiments, everybody saw the same stuff. And sometimes they were told this was handed in a week early, or they were told this was handed in at the deadline, or they were told this was handed in an hour after the deadline. And they evaluated the work, and they were told just evaluate the work, don't worry about the deadline stuff. And people consistently find that the stuff that's handed in late is about 10% worse than stuff that's handed in on time. So I had three questions from this. The first question I had was, what if I have a good excuse? What if there's a reason that it's late and it's not my fault? They tested that, doesn't help. The work is still worse, you're still worse. The second thing is, what if I warn them that it's going to be late and I give them a heads up ahead of time? What if I say, oh, you're going to get it tomorrow? That doesn't affect the penalty at all. People still think it's worse. They still think you're less competent. They still think you have less integrity. And then the third piece, Frey, why don't you give me the ball? Drop it. Oh, good girl. Yes. Go get that. And then the third piece, she's a little late getting balls. That's what she does. She waits for the deadline to go by and then she goes to get the ball. Yeah, deadline's gone by. So the third piece is, what about if I hand stuff in early? Can I get a bonus on how people perceive my work if I hand it in ahead of the deadline? And they found no evidence for that at all. Stuff is either late, in which case it's worse, or it's earlier on time, in which case it's fine. And so, I don't know, I took three sort of take-home messages from this. Oh, you're such a good girl. I took three take-home messages. One, don't worry so much about trying to get stuff in early because there's no advantage. So if you have it done and it's a week early, just leave it in your outbox and just don't send it until the deadline and then send it then, because they're not thinking you're any better when you send it in early. I thought that was informative. The second thing is, if you're late on something, just own it, right? I mean, trying to get, permission, trying to tell them it's going to be late, trying to tell them why it was late. None of that stuff helps. You still come off looking bad. So you might as well just own it. They think your integrity's worse as a result of this, so you might as well show them you have integrity by saying, it's my fault it's late, I apologize, I'm going to take steps to make sure that doesn't happen again, and then follow up with that. That's really, I think, the only exit strategy. And then the third piece is, do those things, right? It's like, make sure that you do hit your deadlines. If you're setting up deadlines for yourself that aren't accurate or are too optimistic, you're not doing yourself any favors. So you want to make sure that your deadlines are ones that you're going to hit, and you want to set them accurately. I'll tell you about one deadline I always have. Every week on the Tuesday, I send out a newsletter in the morning. I always meet that deadline. And you should be getting it, because every week I send out 5 science stories. This is one of them, but there are 4 others you don't know about. And the only way to find out about them is to get the newsletter. It's called The Bat Signal. Just go to followthebatsignal.com. All right, good job, Frey. Where'd you go? Come here. Say goodbye. Say goodbye. Come here. Oh, you're such a good dog. Yes, you are. Oh, you're so good. Oh, what a good dog. Oh, thanks for your help. Want to go get it? Whew.